politicized by the right? Has it been ignored by the left? Great questions being asked in this new book by Kathleen Kennedy Townsend. She was Lieutenant Governor of Maryland, my Lieutenant Governor for several years back in the 90s and early part of this century. The book's called Failing America's Faithful. How today's churches are mixing God with politics and losing their way. Kathleen, you're a Catholic, a Christian. Your writing here is, I think it's fair to say, a moderate liberal. What is your interest in religion? Because most big city liberals seem to be secular these days.
Well, you know, I grew up in the Catholic Church. I love my church. 10 years of the nuns teaching me what to do, and my own parents saying over and over again, do God's work on earth. And I just think that today the churches have privatized religion. They've shrunken God. And that's not the kind of faith that I grew up in, and I want it to change. And I want to say to the left, find the faith that cries for justice and the common good, and say to the you've misunderstood the biblical teachings, and they're much broader and greater than what you're preaching.
But isn't this kind of cherry picking? The liberals will talk about poverty and injustice and racism and nuclear war and pick that part of the Christian message from Jesus, and the conservatives will find the evils of sodomy, the evils of infidelity, the evils of sex of any form. It seems like the conservatives don't like sex, and they're very focused on that, and the liberals are focused on social injustice. You've just picked the part of the Christian message that you like.
Well, as we all do, Chris.
Yeah.
And I think, but the point is that I embrace the message. I think that the problem is that the Christian right has only focused on one small part, and those who see the other part have not raised their voices in protest. And very frankly, there are 2,100 passages in the Bible that talk about poverty, and that has been missed. And I don't think you can call yourself Christian if you ignore such a large part of what our church should be teaching us. You know, in 1966, my father, who I know you have a great deal of respect for, Robert Kennedy, went to South Africa. And he came back and wrote the cover story of Look magazine saying, "Suppose God is black." And that indicates that you can have a view of God that is not just a personal relationship to God, but has a sense of justice for the whole country. And I believe that's not just true of, you know, my family or even your family, Chris, but that's the great tradition in this country, starting with John Winthrop, who said that we should work together, suffer together, care for one another. And that message of community and building the city on the hill, not just the individual on the hill, is what has been missing from our churches and our politics.
That's why you're on. Liberal and moderate Christians and Catholics, Protestants alike, should love this book. It's a message for you. It's not the usual kind of Christianity you hear on politics, the sort of the anti-sexual Christianity. It's the loving Christianity. It's breathtaking to hear this and refreshing to hear this from Kathleen. A great book, Failing America's Faithful. Anyway.